Hey guys, recently I've not been doing too well on the whole productivity front. I've had pretty low energy the last few months, and while I've had the desire to create things, like in the sort of abstract I really want to do that way, I haven't had the energy or the motivation to actually do them. So I do what I do best. I create 5 million to-do lists, breaking everything down into tiny, manageable bites and steps, so that when I do have the energy, I can dive right in and be super productive. Does this help me actually get things done? Does it hell? See, the problem I have is I will create these to-do lists and then schedule the pieces into roughly what I think I can fit in a day. The reasoning behind that being, if I know what I'm doing each day, then I know roughly when I'm gonna finish, and then I can use that to figure out when to start new things and how to work around events and all that sort of stuff. Because, being an author, I have books planned to write for about the next 3 million years. And being a cosplayer, I have costume plans for about the same. So I literally have my projects roughly scheduled out month by month until about 2017? I know. I have a problem. Like, normally this wouldn't be a bad thing. In theory, it gives me plenty of time to do all of the things that I want to do, and it's all spaced out nicely, and it's wonderful. Theory being the operative word here. As I said, I plan things in like day-sized chunks and then figure out how many days it's going to take me to complete the task. So I currently have a rough day-by-day to-do list until about February. Again, in theory, this would work out great. But in reality, it's kind of the worst thing I could ever do to myself. Because what actually happens is I continue to have zero energy, so I don't do anything on that day's list, or I only do some of them. So everything I didn't do then gets bumped to the next day. And then on the next day, I'm just as exhausted as I was the day before, so the same thing happens. And the cycle continues until suddenly I'm attempting to do about 15 days of work in 2 days, and I become the physical embodiment of this photo. So that's been me for the last 4 months, which means a lot of my plans for fun stuff have kind of gone down the drain. I was gonna do so many cosplay shoots, but I couldn't because A, I didn't finish the costumes, and B, I didn't have the energy to go anywhere. I was gonna be way ahead on my writing schedule, and I'm not. I was gonna brainstorm some cool stuff to do here and on Tumblr and IRL for the winter and for next year, and I didn't. I'm just constantly running behind and playing catch up with myself because I just try and keep these really rigid to-do lists. But I don't know how to stop. Wow, sun suddenly really bright, can you please not? Like, I've tried deleting my daily to-do lists and just working by what I felt like doing that day. That just meant I spent 2 weeks straight watching YouTube and reading fanfiction, which, while enjoyable, not really helpful with the whole regaining my motivation thing. So instead I tried breaking down all of my tasks and projects without actually giving them a timescale. But I'd still end up like unconsciously splitting them into day-by-day sections or doing a to-do list for the day ahead, and then next thing I know I've planned for the next 3 weeks. I just get so wrapped up with wanting to make as many things as possible in a really short time frame so that I can get them out there and share them with people and enjoy them, that I don't really factor enjoying the making into the process. Just wanting to get it all done as quickly as possible so that I can move on to the next thing. Which kind of defeats the point of making things for myself if I force myself through them just wanting to get them done as quickly as possible. Obviously, very little I can do about that now, seeing as I just got back from America. And as much as I can plan to do better for future projects, that only really becomes valid once I clear all the ongoing projects off my to-do list. So hopefully once I get over the jet lag, I'll be super motivated and raring to go after this little break, and be able to wrap up everything that's currently a work in progress, and then break my list obsession and be able to tackle things in a much more manageable, less anxiety-inducing fashion. Or, you know, go back to compulsively making lists until I end up in this exact same situation again. Because if there's one thing I've learnt about myself, it's that 90% of the time I am too goddamn stubborn to learn from my own mistakes. If any of you also suffer from compulsive list making, please let me know in the comments that I'm not alone. Or if there are just any bad habits that you know you shouldn't do but can't quite bring yourself to break. How about we make a pact right now? For December we can indulge in those habits, round them off to a nice conclusion. Then in January we finally start trying to change the habits that we know aren't good for us. Because if you guys hold me accountable, then I can do the same for you. I hope you're all having a nice anxiety-free week, and I will see you all when I'm not too jet-lagged to film. Bye! Hey guys, so those of you who don't follow me on Twitter may not be aware that recently I've been writing a new project.